So I do like the decision here to go AD, but it does still feel like a very tough situation to be in.
So we'll just keep on pushing early on here. Aurelion Sol's so good at doing this with those stars early on. You position yourself to the side of the wave, make it so the stars hit all minions that they pass through, and just get that shoved in. Make it so your opponent has to answer you early on. Immediately take that control.
And this is why the idea behind 100 Thieves mid-jungle synergy is pretty good. Lulu's in is really aggressive at scrapping with people. The problem is if your Lulu is always pushed in, you're going to have a hard time meeting up with your jungler. So I do like the Aurelion Sol pick for Echo Fox here, and it does buy them a lot of space and room to breathe in the early game.
Bottom side, we'll see the Swain played down here in the duo lane. First time today. See how well that works out.
Oh, Aurelion Sol's coming down too.
Level 1 turret dive onto 2 different members. We'll see how well Echo Fox Academy can play this. When the damage coming through, stun going to be taken low. One more hit'll do it. Odd Orange gets in there. He will be taken down. It's a 1-for-1. Echo Fox go very, very hard, very, very early.
That is a very surprising dive to go for. Like you said, super hard. The enemy team has 3 teleports. So even if, you know, it's one of those things where I can't believe they went for that dive, considering that Brandini also had pressure up in the top lane, given that he's Kennen versus Mundo, so he easily could have TP'd down in there as well. There's almost no world where you dive successfully and do not trade kills out.
Here comes your Aurelion Sol, and
this is a good stun right away. Odd Orange goes flying into him, and they just trade stuns out. And while stuns will die here, Odd Orange has to flash back in for the auto attack to make it work at all, and then Insanity picks up double buff, so I'm sure Yusui's very happy about that.
if you saw the way that the stars worked from Yusui, the star was about to touch stunt again and kill him without Odd Orange's flash, and he ran out of mana, and the stars immediately recalled. It was a split second away from potentially being a 1-0.
And that's one of the reasons you don't see Aurelion Sol roam exactly at 3. While he does have that potential, a lot of the time, Aurelion Sol's first 3 levels are about shoving the wave. You just hold your W down, you push the wave in, help secure Scuttle Crabs, and then once you hit 3, you've usually used all 3 charges of your Corrupting Pot, you have your escape velocity, so you go back to base, and you escape velocity back to mid lane with full mana and some extra items, and then you really start pressuring the map. But they didn't let Yusui do that, and he roamed bottom, like you said, with, I don't know, 100 mana or something, and really couldn't contribute very much to that fight.
Grandinho keep on pushing this Mundo in, though. 31 CS compared to 20. This is what AD Kennen does. We already mentioned earlier, Kennen is the lane bully, more so when he's got the AD build. Even if he misses a couple of the farm right there, he's still doing better than Mundo is. Nintendo does not want to abandon all these minions, though. He'll walk right back up there and keep farming those up, as Levi realizes now is not the time to try to take the Krugs.
Yep, Odd Orange has shown up in the laning phase, and this is, like I said, probably a little frustrating for Yusui, a little hard to get the priority against a double buff Lulu, but the double buffs run out, and from here he should have a relatively easy time continuing to push the mid wave in. With all the nerfs that have come to AP Lulu over the years, her wave clear is just really not too strong right now and has no way of really competing with that Aurelion Sol.
I remember when Lulu first came out, it was funny because I think the messaging around Lulu is, hey guys, we've got this champion and her role is to be a support and she's going to be really cool. And then all the players were like, no, she's a mid laner. We're just going to build.
She was a top laner first. Void was the one, I think, who really broke.
Everyone was like, no, we know this is supposed to be a support, but we're just going to play it in solo lanes instead because it is so incredibly strong. And yeah, she's been nerfed quite a lot over the years.
It was kind of like rework Galio, where she was instantly getting played basically in 4 roles. Like jungle Lulu worked.
Machine Gun Lulu, sometimes you would see as like a meme in 80 carry build.
Oh, hold on, diving the top side.
All right, they've got the Kennen ultimate. Mundo still only level 5. Nintendo looking to flash away. Brandini still going to be soaking that turret for so very long, barely walking himself away. But barely is enough today, and that means they've got time to take down this tier 1 turret. As Echo Fox says, all right, enemy jungler's top side. That means we're onto the Drake looking to take this cloud for themselves. Should not be any problem with that. Odd Orange makes sure they get it, but trading that away for the gold advantage of first turret, I don't know if that's your ideal world.
Before I continue reminiscing about Lulu, I just have to say I really do not like the way Echo Fox is playing this early game. Why are you trying to snowball bot side? You have a better comp. Just protect your weak points. There's 2 ways to play this game with the Aurelion Sol. You can go bottom with mid priority and try and destroy the Taric Swain, which is a pretty beefy bot lane, or you could spend more time pressuring up the top side of the map and making sure your Mundo, who is going to become unkillable, does not fall behind.
Be unkillable.
Yeah. and I really don't like their decision to put so much focus down in the bot lane here with all those roams and the dragon trades. If they spent more time protecting their top side, yeah, okay, maybe the gold lead is still the same, but at least your Mundo has not been killed once and didn't lose his turret against a Kennen who, like we said, by building the Blade of the Rune King, actually can split push against him.
All right, I'm going to keep that point in mind for later. We'll check back up on that in, I don't know, 10 minutes or so and see where that Mundo is sitting. Because if he does fall too far behind, I mean, it could get really dicey.
It's been a while since we've seen a Mundo not come online, but when he does, it's pretty sad. He pops his ult.
He's even the color of a melee minion.
Yeah, like he pops his ult, deals a bunch of damage to himself, and then dies. Like, that's what behind Mundo looks like. And like I said, he's been so strong now for these past 2 patches that it feels like it's been a while since I've seen that Mundo. But we might be on track for that kind of Mundo game.
We'll see if Echo Fox Academy wants to lend any help towards him, or if they've already just thrown him enough under the bus that they're like, yeah, you're speed bump Mundo at this point. Try to do what you can.
You're kind of scuffed already.
Yeah, well, we're not going to try to do that because it's just going to be trying to plug all the holes in a sinking ship at this point. But Brandini's going to keep on shoving up. He's having a good time. And I don't know what it is today, Mark, but the teams are just loving to help their Kennons.
Yeah, they just like Snowball in the Cannon. I mean, he's a great champion too. Snowball has a lot of pressure in lanes, has some gank set up and all that stuff. So no surprise. We'll have to see if Brandini can kind of continue the Snowball, putting himself in a really bad spot here.
Yep, tries to flash away. Hextech ultimate. Oh, no! Yoinks him right back into the fight, but he'll still make it a 1-for-1, taking down Odd Orange there. They get him, but oh, you hate to see those kinds of interactions, or you love to see him if you're on the side of Echo Fox Academy, bringing him right back to the blast cone.
I mean, it did end up killing Odd Orange for it. The Hextech ultimatum was just slightly too small for Brandini's model to get over the wall.
So it had to place him back where he could actually pass.
Yeah, it had to place him back actually on the other side. Very funny looking interaction there, and unlucky for Brandini. He kind of played it pretty well to give himself the best chance to live, and even after that, still traded back 1-for-1. We'll see it again here. This is definitely a little too aggressive. No vision. Nice flash out on the ult, and then it looks like the corner is just big enough there, but even that Yorba model too big to fit in that little corner of the Hextech ultimatum.
Still very well played by this 100 Thieves top laner to make sure that he takes someone with him. What's a 3 versus 1?
Unfortunate that it did give Mundo a lot of gold and buy him enough space to actually push his lane out and all the way into the top side. It allows him to get his Ninja Tabby, start working on that Bomby Cinder. And so that could be the mistake that really alleviates a lot of the pressure, because as soon as the Kennen starts allowing Mundo to get some gold intake, especially with the turret down, it's a longer lane to farm. He has to expose himself more.
And look at the gold leads, because right now it's a 1.1,000 lead overall for 100 Thieves compared to Fox. It's 1.1,000 in Mundo. Yeah, that is the name of the game. Granted, there are a little bit of discrepancies in other roles as well that ultimately equal out, but you can contribute the entire lead to top lane. And that's a pretty bad situation to be in for Dr. Mundo. With the Ninja Tabbies, though, those are going to serve to protect him from a lot of that Blade of the Ruin King annoyance. Still doesn't have that item fully completed on the side of Brandini, but with the control over top side that they have, Levi says, all right, let's go ahead and grab Rift.
Yep, similar strategy to what we saw in game 1 or 2 with CLG, where they snowball their top side using the Kennen, then convert that into a Rift Herald, which they'll probably end up dropping mid or something. And Echo Fox sticking to their guns, continuing to pressure down around the bot side. Odd Orange makes his way. That call, that global Rift Herald death, signals to Echo Fox that there's no way that this dive would get dissuaded, and so they'll get this bot turret for free.
Echo Fox finally getting themselves their first turret of the game. Brings us back up to a pretty even gold point, as Nintendude will try to be a pain for Shelly to deal with, but instead ends up getting a lot of pain of his own. Levi hits him up there, does point a lot of damage. Shelly loses half her HP before she makes the charge, but remember this, the new way that Shelly works is as long as that charge goes off, she still hits really hard.
That was a really strange Rift Herald usage to me. You kill it, you have maximum time to figure out a good time to use it. Your bot lane just took the bot turret, or the enemy bot lane just took the bot turret. The most common rotation after that is to move mid.
You know what I think that was?
Bot turret.
I think that's the I'm trying to ward the Raptor Pit. Oh wait, I have Rift Herald. Rift Herald.
Maybe, because he spawned the Rift Herald over the wall, which maybe he was trying to do that, but the enemy team collapses. Dr. Mundo runs around like an idiot, like, hey, hit me, trying to bait them into a fight as his bot lane collapses. And of course, they don't take the fight, but they also just watch Rift Herald do 1,500 damage to their turret, and that's it.
Yep.
Very questionable series of events there by 100 Thieves Academy, but still in a decent spot.
I don't know. I'd still put money on that being that I meant to use my trinket. I used my rip turret.
And if we get an interview after this one, maybe we can ask, what did Levi mean to do there?
Yeah, what was the intended play with the Rift Herald? We'll see. We'll see. That is going to be the second Drake of the game spawning here in 5 seconds. Echo Fox Academy did secure the first one for themselves. Grabbing this second one could lead to a late game win condition in terms of both extra damage for Baron as well as building up Elder advantages. We've already seen that Drake spawn 1 time today. Maybe we'll get 2, but doesn't look like we're going to see any interference from 100 Thieves on this one. It's an Earth Drake, so we'll give it away.
And once again, I am a bit of a on-the-record Dragon RNG non-fan. Okay. I don't really like and this is one of those times where 100 Thieves have a super obvious topside focus with their game plan, and how hard they get punished is kind of related to whatever Dragon spawns. Because
if this was 2 Infernals,
2 Infernals or even 2 Oceans, imagine how much that does to help Mundo not get poked out by the cannon.
Yeah.
There's one of those things where now you have a cloud and a mountain, which really effectively do nothing for your game plan here, whereas if, like you said, you get 2 Infernals or double Ocean or something, it's a very different game. So pretty fortunate for 100 Thieves that this doesn't get punished more with better Drake RNG, because they get the Rift Herald, and then they kind of messed up their advantage that they got by controlling topside. But at the end of the day, Gold League pretty close to even, and it will be about kind of execution from here.
Echo Fox thinking about maybe executing here in the mid lane, pushing things up, but Linsanity is at the point where he's got the Luden's Echo, so the Glitter Lance is very good wave clearing tool. Just getting rid of all those minions at once. 129 to 139 CS between those 2 as well, so Insanity doing a good job keeping up with this Aurelion Soul that we talked so much about, his wave clearing and pushing potential. Top side, you can see the Mundo also not going all the way in, completely indexing on armor like we saw in the previous game up against that Aatrox. Instead, he's going to be splitting. He's got the Bombi Cinder, but now going for the Spectre's Cal, recognizing that in the middle of a team fight, he's still going to be taking a lot of AP damage from the Kennen's basic abilities, as well as the Lulu and the Sweep.
Yeah, that's the big thing. If Kennen was a purely physical damage, or even 75% physical damage, probably not worth indexing into that, because you're just so focused on not falling too far behind the Kennen. But Kennen is a very heavy magic damage user, even with a Blade of the Rune King rush. So definitely not the worst purchase in the world. And if you do end up TPing into a team fight, you're going to be very happy you have it. So definitely wouldn't want to see him go too far down the magic resist rabbit hole, and would like to see him focus a little bit more on his own lane from here on. But one small MR pickup is still a good investment.
Speaking of good investments, I love seeing early Executioners calling from this Kennen against the Mundo. Whenever I see a team that has healing sources like a Mundo and you don't get that item early to deal with it, it hurts my heart a little bit, Mark. And I'm so glad I don't have to deal with that heartache today. That is such an important tech pickup for Brandini to make sure that this Mundo can't recover in this lane.
Absolutely. Well. It's still, you know, an item and a half kind of over his opponent, so it doesn't hurt as bad as if you were even or behind. That's the same kind of thing that happens with the QSS. Like, you don't really want to delay your next big item power spike by what is it now?
800.
800. Yeah, 800. So you don't really want to.
Not quite as bad as QSS, but it does allow you to do this and find the solo kill. I don't think that happens. You don't have Executioners calling.
Nope, and that's what we're talking about. You see that Mundo pop his ult and go, and that's it.
I see ya.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything really. And now Brantini still needs to get out of here against Yusui, but shouldn't have too hard of a time. Lightning Rush, back up, gets out.
Popping the lightning. Yusui's still chasing. Yusui has Flash. He wants to go after this. Lands the Voice of Light. Camille's on the way. Flash, damage, comes out. Odd Orange, can't go all the way, and Brandini will drop the last tick of the Ignite. Yusui proves that he was right in making that chase.
Yeah, it didn't look like they were going to be able to find that kill. Maybe a little bit of a late flash there by Brandini. As soon as he got hit by the Voice of Light, or maybe even flashing the Voice of Light would have been the right decision. But it was tough to say, and here we see Nintendo at half HP. Just walks forward for that last minion, just a little too greedy. And there you see, just taken down very easily by the Kennen.
Sometimes you see those minions on your screen, you're like, man, that's 14 juicy gold. I really need that in my pocket.
I'll risk giving my opponent 300.
And sometimes that risk does not pay off. Levi forced to use the ultimate very early here. Stun coming back in onto Odd Orange, who may have put himself a little bit too far forward. Does manage to get away. Tarek ultimate wears off, and Stun pays the price.
Good attempt at a counter engage there by 100 Thieves Academy, but just not as many members around. Swain back in base, not contributing at all in that fight. as well as the fact Kennen had just respawned and was moving down to the bot side, so just playing a little too far forward on the side of 100 Thieves Academy.
Levi back to full HP here on the Xin Zhao. Not really too worried about where he's at right now. Rikara, level 9 on the Swain, hitting that point where now you've got that super spammable Q in the fights. Death's Hand will be fired off every couple of seconds. Makes it much easier to sort of fulfill that role of sustained damage that you sacrifice by not having a traditional marksman.
Yep. Emperor Palpatine online.
Yep, ready to go. Let's see if 100 Thieves Academy can use that to their advantage in any of these upcoming fights. The game's still at a very even state overall. Third Drake of the game will be spawning in just over 1 minute. It is going to be yet another Cloud. So more movement speed, but again, no damage, no regen.
And neither team is exactly a comp that loves it. I would say 100 Thieves Academy would be the one to enjoy the move speed the most. Levi and Rikara wanted to be people who stay in the mix, and a little bit of move speed is always good for that.
Mundo can quickly go where he pleases now.
Yeah, it helps Mundo, but Lucian having mobility, Camille having mobility, helps position, I guess, with the Aurelion Soul too, so both teams able to use Cloud Drake decently well.
All right, we're seeing what the Braum might try to do in the top side here. Coming around to Lost's aid, Brandini says, hey, I got red buff. That Blade of the Ruined King Executioner's calling Kennen was fun earlier. Wait till you see me now.
Yeah, but it looks like Brandini might be a little over-focused on the 1v1. TP coming in.
Wants to go in. Yusui, they know that the TP is here. They know they're going to fight both these guys. Voice of Light, not going to find anyone. There goes your Slicing Maelstrom. Yusui missing those spells is going to spell the end of not only himself, but also his teammates. The 2 versus 3.
Outplayed by Brandini and Linsanity.
That wasn't even, I don't even know if that's an outplay. Yusui just whipped everything.
Linsanity stopwatched.
All right, but
we're trying to build him up here, Captain Flowers.
I'm perfectly fine with building people up, but we have also got to criticize where criticism is necessary, and Yusui critically missed some spells there as Levi just blocked up everything. He's so aware of those bullets. The awareness stops the entirety of the culling, and Lost and Adrian have to stand by and watch as the turret goes down. Meanwhile, Brandini and Insanity taking down the tier 2 in the bottom.
All right, a lot to talk about there. Like you said, definitely a misplay on the side of Fox Academy. It felt like with the 3 members that were going down the bot side, you should have been able to get a pretty good chain CC combo off if you combo the Camille in with the Aurelion Soul correctly, and then you just blow up either Brandini or the Lulu. Ideally the Lulu, because she's the one with the defensive outplay with the ultimate and the E. Yep. But it just is not coordinated very well. Nintendo hanging back, Sui starts going in, and then just RQs and misses. Did hit him with the R on the Linsanity technically, but there's just no chain CC. And so Linsanity drops his damage, drops his stuff to keep him alive, and no one focuses Brandini the entire time. So Brandini's just very happy auto-attacking there with his ult on, and they win that 2v3 pretty easily.
Yeah, that was a massive win for those two, being able to find that outplay there. And it is going to be third Drake going the way of Echo Fox Academy. So 2 Clouds, 1 Mountain under their belts. The next Mountain will be what spawns here 6 minutes from now, but they're still down 3,000 gold. They're still having a rough time so far. Kennen, Ginsu's Rage Blade, the next item that he decides to complete. So again, more of that sustained damage, more of that auto attack power, more reasons for Mundo to stay the hell away.
Yeah, and Mundo's still working on that first item, having a real
garage sale Mundo.
Real tough game against 2-item Kennen, who's probably never going to group if he can avoid it. Just keep auto attacking things down. And as you can see now, bringing 1 person probably is not going to be enough. Or, bring 2 people to him.
Yeah, you have to super outnumber, not just outnumber, because...
Hey, guess what? Rikara has TP too. You can always just kind of trade who's TPing to the Kennen when you bring 3 people. So I don't know how you're going to attack this Kennen unless you pull off a chain CC combo correctly and actually kill somebody. But otherwise, it's going to be a very, very tough time trying to kill him.
Quick check-in on stopwatches as well. 1 available for Rikara, 1 available for Yusui in the next fight. So we've got to keep eyes on those stasis capabilities to see if anybody can make a big bait that ends up turning the tides of a fight. But that Kennen just attacks so fast, Mark. Even the poor little cannon minions don't know what to do. And honestly, at this point, they're probably have about as much chance against the Kennen in a 1 versus 1 as Mundo does. He does have the Sunfire Cape done now.
Hey.
We'll have a little bit more wave clear available.
If he's standing next to the minions and not getting autoed by Brandini.
Right, which is honestly a pretty big problem still at this point in time. But hey, we'll see how that goes. And look at bottom lane. 176 farm versus 253. It's a massive economy lead for Lost in terms of how well these two are farming.
Yeah, and we'll get to see Lost put that to use right now versus Rikara.
Remember, Rikara is one of those guys who has the stopwatch. We'll see if he can use it to stay alive. There we go. Staying alive for now. TP's coming in. The stopwatch does buy enough time. Vision of Empire coming through. Adrian may be in some trouble here. Nintendo to the front line. Brandini gonna go ahead, pop the ultimate. Looking to stay alive. Looking to make something happen here. Nintendo X, the first casualty of this fight. Brandini will now run down the odd orange. The auto attacks are way too strong. They want to grab the crab on the way out, but Linsanity says TY for leash. Less than 3 in the all chat. Picks that one up for himself. 140 gold in the pocket. And that's another big win for 100 Thieves.
It's a big win that's going to turn into a big objective take. Baron on the menu for 100 Thieves now. And there you see the utility that 100 Thieves comp brings in full effect. Brandini's a monster threat right now, and you have a Lulu shield and Terracol to keep him alive in these fights. They're trying to contest this.
They realize they can't give away this Baron. They have to try to fight 100 Thieves Academy right here, but they go into a 3 versus 5. Baron is already down. They end up giving away 1 kill in the form of their support. Yusui trying to flash. The Vision of Empire will zone him away from the ramp, but he still manages to escape. Brandini will not catch up, and this game is firmly in the hands of 100 Thieves. Levi wants to go over the wall for the flash, catch up to Lost. Cloud Drake tries to do the work. Lost tries to do the kiting, but when you're out of mana on a caster-style AD carry, you're just giving 300 gold away.
Yeah, a little surprising flash there, given that his team with the Baron and Powered Recalls were already closing in on Lost, but either way, they picked that kill up. And here's a kind of desperate attempt by Echo Fox to stop this. The problem with Aurelion Sol in situations like this is it's very easy to stun him once and stop his W from being out. If you don't have a way to stun Aurelion Sol, he's a complete nightmare to kind of fight around in a Baron pit, but if you do have a stun, you easily interrupt that, drop his DPS, and then you finish the Baron off very easily. And here you see Levi flashing the wall, messing Lost up, and then Sang shows up like, hey dude, I could have just done that, and you could have saved your flash.
Now, Mark, I'm a man who's confident in the stuff I say, but at the same time, I am willing to admit when I am wrong. And I said at the beginning of this game, 100 Thieves make me a believer in this draft. Make me a believer in this composition. And then Kinnan said, okay, and he took press the attack and he built a Dorian's Blade into a Blade of the Ruined King. And this composition has worked very well so far for this team. The Kinnan has just become this unanswerable problem for the Mundo when we thought the opposite would happen.
Absolutely. Hold on here, Levi.
Levi trying to get away. Does get knocked up into the air. Awareness blocks damage, but not CC, and Adrian ends up being the one to pick up the kill on to the 100 Thieves jungle.
They find that kill and maybe be able to find another turret for themselves here. Both of the side laners still split pushing. There we see the TP coming in from Ricard to make sure that this push doesn't keep going on. But to your draft point, at the end of the day, I guess what this game is a good example of is execution still very, very important. I still believe that in the late game, Amundo would be a very hard champion to stop. Yes, you have all this utility to keep people alive with the Lulu and the Taric ultimates and things like that. Yes. But the enemy team can kind of just bait those out, Rom ult disengage, and then look to keep fighting and things like that. But if your Mundo is not going to get any help, you're going to go dive bot lane for a 1-for-1 level 3, throw that away, and continuing pressuring bot lane for Cloud Drakes. And your Mundo is just getting railed on in the top lane so that he never becomes that meatball that we're talking about, then yeah, that draft easily falls apart. Because so much of what we were talking about was, they got a Mundo!
Hey, they got Mundo, he's unkillable!
They don't have Mundo anymore!
He dies a lot.
Yeah, so a lot of what we're, same way that you talk about like a hyper-scaling carry in a gold funnel comp, like, wow, that's so strong!
Oh my gosh, Master Yi, he can cut everybody to pieces in seconds.
If it falls apart, it doesn't look so good. Same idea here. We're talking so much about the Mundo being a menace in team fights. He's so far behind. He's a non-factor completely.
7,900, 8,000 gold now versus the 12.8 thousand of the Kinnan.
You can hold him.
Kinnan is up almost 2 complete items against the Mundo right now as Brandini wants to go in, setting this one up, able to find so much chain CC. Look at that. There's no way out. Mundo's the tank, remember?
Yeah, that didn't
look tanky.
That didn't look too difficult for the Kinnan.
No, not even remotely. Guardian Angel also available on Brandini now, so if he goes into this fight, he can even, if he needs to, play one of these fights as a ballistic missile AP Kennen style, where he just runs in and CCs everybody. and it's still going to be fine, because if he dies, he just comes back anyway.
Yeah, definitely the case. We'll have to see what they choose to do. You have to be careful with that in mind. Sometimes the AD cannons think that, and then they run around in lightning form the whole time, and you can't attack in lightning form, and all your damage is in your auto attacks, so you actually do nothing even though you CC people. But assuming Brandini doesn't do that, he can definitely do what you said, flash in there with his ult on, just make sure you keep auto attacking, CC people up. I mean, you have the Lulu and the Taric to keep you up, and if you somehow die through all of that, you're coming back.
Use lightning form to get close to the fight, and then as it expires, you flash in, press R, and just auto attack to your heart's content. First Drake of the game for 100 Thieves finally goes down. That's Earth Drake for them. Looks like the final Earth Drake will be the final Elemental Drake right before the Elder Timer would otherwise become available. But it's still 7,000 gold for 100 Thieves Academy versus Echo Fox. And man, things are not looking good for the side of Echo Fox Academy. You've got your Rod of Ages and your Rylai's done for Yusui, so he's got that slowing ability on the stars now, try to keep people in range a little bit more, but if I'm Yusui, I'm not worried so much about people running away from my stars. I'm worried about people just jumping on top of them.
Yeah, that's definitely the bigger concern, and I'm a little surprised to see an inhibitor turret not taken despite the solo kill by Brandini onto the Mundo. You can see how much pressure he has, but they haven't been able to quite convert that into an inhibitor down. Next Baron is up in under 2 minutes, though, so that'll probably be the one that they really use to snowball the game. Well, I shouldn't say snowball the game, end the game, because the snowball's in full effect.
Levels in this game range from 11 to 15, except for Kennen, who is at level 17. Worth pointing out as well, a huge EXP advantage for this top laner from the side of 100 Thieves. Working now on grabbing some magic resistance. You can see a Spectre's Cal in his own inventory. So,
yeah, Brandini in both their wins has been a huge factor, and looking like a guy who's definitely worthy of holding that pick off, giving him counter pick, and then trusting him when he tells you that he has a good idea for him. Because this Kennen pick, we were both skeptical about it.
Yep.
Working out real good.
Both doubted. We've both been proved wrong so far. But remember, it's not over until the Nexus explodes. 100 Thieves still has to make sure they can close this game out. They will have Baron spawning in another 50 seconds or so. Ooh, that back was just in time.
Unfortunately, no way to catch him out, but they almost found him. Kennen is making a little bit of a mistake here and focusing a little too hard on killing the Mundo. It's much more important at this point in the game to push down the minion wave and keep Mundo pinned in his base and auto-attack the turret than it is to find the Mundo randomly in his jungle and kill him.
Yeah, it's a little hard to do. It's a pretty big ask.
Yeah.
All right.
It's even if you find it, like, you're not advancing the game plan at all. You just killed a 1 in 5 Mundo again.
Yeah, it's like, all right, we got him for the 6th time. Yeah. Surely this is the time.
Yeah, go push that minion wave in, force the Mundo under his turret, auto-attack the turret in front of his face, and dare him to stop you. That's going to be the faster way to close this game out.
I do want to point out, because we spent some time praising builds, both in this game and the last game, the build that you said you were hoping for the Mundo, building for the lane, building for survivability in the 1 versus 1, not coming online. Sunfire Cape's still the only armor item as we break out into the fight, and Echo Fox immediately lose their jungler. Taric ultimate going to make sure there's no response coming back. Rikara on the front lines trying to use the demon player. Adrian having a 1v1 against Levi. The calling comes through. Stun's going to be taking low. Insanity here as well. Echo Fox looking to turn this one back around. Rikara, the next one to drop as Lost makes it a 1-for-1.
Hey, you know what? Kennen doesn't TP in there. You can win that fight. We talk about how it's a 4,000 gold lead, 5,000 gold lead explicitly on the Kennen. He was busy fighting the Mundo, took the turret in front of him, but didn't get the kill. Does take the inhibitor, but they did lose a 1-for-1 for it. Unfortunately for Echo Fox, they couldn't keep Auto Orange up. Maybe if they pull that off, they can brute force down around the Baron or something. Not the case. A very close fight for Echo Fox, but you see that that 4-man comp that we're talking about, how it doesn't quite work that well against Echo Fox's comp. Imagine if this was a game where the Mundo didn't get shut down, and that's a 5v5. Probably goes pretty well for Echo Fox.
Echo Fox also did a great job playing around the Taric ultimate, because here, we're going to see it again, right here.
Yep, they jump in right away, insta-give, but then the Braum, this is what I was saying, has a really easy job disengaging after that, and the rest of the team, no gap closers really, other than the Zen. They just kind of run at you slowly, and if you're able to kite that out, you can actually go and turn back and fight once that Taric ultimate's out.
And I thought this was going to be such a bad situation, because it's 3 versus 4. The Taric ultimate was on, but they say, nope, Taric ulti's on. leave until it falls down, and then they turn around and get a kill. Very well played from the side of Echo Fox Academy, but they've still got to work themselves back from this 8K gold deficit. Now with Inhibitor down bottom, it means that Baron pressure will naturally lend itself to 100 Thieves.
And I would love to see 100 Thieves actually keep the Kennen in the bot lane. One thing we've seen a number of times in Academy and elsewhere across the professional scene is that with everyone taking TP now, you can keep your split pusher down the bot lane. The enemy team has to force Baron or something, and then you TP people to the split pusher to end the game. It's a strategy that's actually worked a number of times, and with Lulu and Swain with their TPs available, I would love to see Brandini actually escorting super creeps onto the Nexus, and then you just brute force a Baron yourself. If you get the Baron, great. And if the enemy team is contesting you with the Baron, TP 2 people to the Kennen.
Yep. TP, if you TP Rikara and Linsanity in there, and then Levi and Stunt, you're just like, okay, fight them for 3 seconds and just let us kill Nexus.
Yeah, they have no TPs to match on Echo Fox's side, so I actually prefer not to see the Kennen grouping up too much here.
Nintendude will keep pushing out the bottom lane, does have level 16 now on this Mundo, does have teleport available, all 3 TPs up and running for 100 Thieves Academy. Brandini will take down that top lane tier 2 turret, does have his adaptive helm completed now as well. Only thing left to do is turn that Executioner's Calling into a Mortal Reminder, and all will be said and done as 100 Thieves brute force onto that Baron, exactly like you're talking about, but they do not have Brandini in the bottom lane. Instead, he's going to be right here, ready for the fight. Odd Orange almost needs to find a steal. Echo Fox Academy not going to give him the opportunity. They know that they're... 100 Thieves Academy has to make sure they don't allow Echo Fox to find the steal. 100 Thieves not willing to risk that 50-50. Nintendude on the front line, trying to be the meatball he always wanted to be, but it's just been so hard this game. 100 Thieves will back away from the objective.
Nintendude actually burned his ultimate running in to get in range to participate in that fight, so he doesn't have it to really be that massive front line that he wants to be. As well as the fact that he's shut down still right now, so have to be careful. The bot wave is starting to build up, so despite 100 Thieves getting a little close on that one, playing it a little risky, they did manage to disengage successfully. Now Mundo has to go back down to the bot lane, and now the pressure continues to build against Echo Fox.
Mundo gets to go back into this bot lane with his buddy that's been hanging out with him there the whole time. Blame the Ruin King gets popped, the ulti goes down. Nintendude trying to get away on this one, does avoid the second stun. But with Nintendude as low as he is, 100 Thieves are saying, okay, it's time to try for the Baron here again. Nexus turret's in some trouble. Here comes your TPs. This is what we were talking about. This could be the game ender. Linsanity already makes his way into the fight. Going to be using the Zhonya's Hourglass, keeping himself alive. Brandini takes down the second Nexus turret. Yusui trying to defend this, but 100 Thieves, they run their opponents around. They do what needs to be done. They bait the Baron. They find the Nexus, and that's your win.
Great win there by 100 Thieves Academy. I gotta say, I like that they ran my play. I called the play.
You did.
They ran it.
Mark had it. He knew the playbook the entire time and predicted.
It's a legitimate macro play that we haven't seen ever, because there's usually not that many teleports in the game, and especially not on champions that are good at ending the game. We usually see top lanes with TP. We see mages in the mid lane that didn't have the ability to take turrets down as easily with TP. Marksmen with TP, split pushers with TP, supportive enchanters who do a lot of auto attack damage like Lulu with TP, end games quickly.
And this game, I want to go back again to Champion Select because it looked so bad early on because we were thinking AP Kennen. And then they switch up, they go AD Kennen, and he just takes over the game against the Mundo that could just never get off the ground. And it created situations that were honestly pretty surprising. 19 minutes in, this first replay that we have for you guys, the 3-for-0 bottom lane in a 2 versus 3.
Yeah, so like you called out during the cast, Yusui gonna not play this one quite right. His ult doesn't provide any CC, just some damage. It also misses his Q, missing that range. So when the Camille goes in, there's no chain CC. They also don't know who to focus down. They're trying to kill Insanity, but with stopwatch and ult, he does fine. And Brandini is just left there auto-attacking with his ult on, melting the members. And
those Kennen auto attacks were ferocious this game. There were multiple times he just walked up to the Mundo and auto attacked him to death, likely because Mundo just wasn't prepared for the amount of damage coming his way.
I mean, after that fight, he was 5-2-1 or something like that with Ginsu's Executioner's Calling, Blade of the Ruin King. That's going to melt through anybody in the game, not just the Mundo at that point. So huge game out of Brandini. Absolutely kind of the solo carry 1v9 gameplay.
And you know, talking about Brandini, why don't we start talking to Brandini? To hear more about that victory, I'd like to welcome him now to the broadcast here via Skype. Brandini, fantastic job out there today.
Thanks.
So I think the first question we have to ask is, how did it feel playing that Kennen? You had kind of to live the dream where you get super huge, but did you feel like a lot of pressure on yourself that you were your team's main win condition based off the draft phase, or did you have a different read on it?
I think personally Kennen is like one of my favorite champions, especially the AD style, so I'm gonna have a lot of fun on it. And yeah, there's a lot of pressure when you play carries and the other side of the map has to sack their lane for you. So I gotta do what I can.
So when the Kennen was locked in, was the initial plan from the moment that the champion was picked to go for the AD Kennen approach? Was there a conversation about, like, it was initially a plan to be AP and then we switch it over? Like, what was the dialogue like to make sure this composition succeeded?
I think AD Kennen fits more in comps than AP, or at least against other champions. Like, if you play AD Kennen against Mundo, you'll always beat him no matter what. And if you play AP, he's just going to buy an MR item and just run you down in the side lane. It's also harder to play against in 5v5s.
Interesting, because I think a lot of people say the AP Kennen is the one that people prefer in 5v5s. You like the AD version?
I just like the AD version, especially with like a Lulu to support. You can basically just become another AD carry that no one can kill.
All right, so the first game that your team played this week against Cloud9 Academy didn't go so hot for you guys. This game, the exact opposite. Everything looked clean. It went how you wanted it to from start to finish. The Mundo could never answer what you wanted to do. What is the difference between those two games and the difference in the performance of the team? And how do you guys feel now sitting on a 2-2 record at the end of week 2 moving forward?
I think in the C9 game, we lost a lot of pressure through mid and jungle, but in this game, it was pretty stable, and we knew how to respond to enemy plays properly, whereas in C9, we were kind of frantic.
So do you guys think that being able to maintain that composure and just making sure you're always on top of that response is the key to racking up some more wins in the coming weeks?
Yep, I think we just play accordingly to which side is the strongest and make sure we just leave as little openings as possible.
And so you guys joined up here on 100 Thieves Academy after your time on TSM. How has it been integrating with this roster, working with Levi and all the other players?
I think compared to this team and TSM, we didn't work so hot as a team on TSMA, even though our roster was like pretty well built. But on this team, I feel like everyone always listens to my opinions, and Levi will always know what I want, even without asking him anything.
You guys just have that sort of a connection, huh? Everybody knows that they're on the same page.
We both just know what to do already in our own roles.
That's fantastic to hear, man. Sounds like you guys definitely got the recipe for success there. Once again, congratulations on an outstanding performance here today. Thank you for coming on to talk to us, and best of luck in the upcoming weeks.
Yep, thanks.
All right, guys, we got one more game coming up for you next. After the break, TLA takes on Optic Academy. Only one will remain undefeated. Don't you go anywhere. Coming through, stun gonna be taken low. One more hit'll do it. Odd Orange gets in there. He will be taken down. It's a 1-for-1. Goes your slicing Maelstrom. Yusui missing those spells is gonna spell the end of not only himself, but also his teammates. The 2 versus 3 will now run down the Odd Orange. The auto attacks are way too strong. They want to grab the crab on the way out, but Linsanity says TY for leash. Less than 3 in the all chat. Calling comes through. Stun's going to be taken low. Linsanity here as well. Echo Fox looking to turn this one back around. Rakara, the next one to drop. This is what we were talking about. This could be the game ender. Linsanity already makes his way into the fight. Going to be using the Zhonya's Hourglass, keeping himself alive. Brandini takes down the second Nexus turret. Yusui trying to defend this. Welcome back, everybody, to the 2018 Academy League. We are gearing up for our final game of the night, and it's bound to be a barn burner with two undefeated teams facing off in Optic Academy versus TLA. Optic Academy are coming in hot after some roster changes, but have their toughest test yet in tonight's matchup.
Yep, 3 straight wins to start the summer split for Optic, but 2 of those are against 0 and 3 teams, so we'll need to see if tonight will be the good indicator of their actual strength. So far, they've been looking really good, playing the same meta style as their main LCS team with picks like Victor in the mid lane. It's a much slower style than a lot of the teams we're seeing in Academy right now, but it's been the flavor of the month for them. Or excuse me, it's their comfort instead of the flavor of the month that the rest of the world has been doing.
Hey, if it works, why try to change it? But again, they face their toughest opponent yet in Team Liquid, who are also undefeated despite losing previous mid laner Mickey in the offseason.
Yeah, and going into it, we said that TLA's new mid laner, Insanity, was going to be a player to watch. And so far, he's definitely delivered for Team Liquid. In the games that we've seen, he's been a very consistent performer and has picks that show a different style that he's able to play with things like the Twisted Fate, the Aurelion Soul, and the Aurelia, all those playing very differently. TLA is another team that decided to stick with comfort rather than expand into the meta, so I'm excited to see who comes out on top here.
Well, then let's go ahead and jump right in. No need to waste any more time, starting with the roster for Team Liquid Academy. In the top lane, it's Viper. In the jungle, Hard. At mid lane, Insanity. Bottom, Shoryu. Support, Joey, and Coach Tim Kiro.
And over on the red side, it's Optic Academy. In the top lane, it is Dokla, Fnatic in the jungle, Palafox in the mid lane, bot lane, Eclipse supported by Gate, coached by Cop Robertson.
I love these games. Undefeated versus undefeated. One gets to keep the spot. The other one has to go down to Blemished Record Town. That's not a
Blemished Record Town.
Blemished Record Town is not a good place to live.
Have you ever been down to Blemished Record Town?
No, they have terrible living conditions. It's awful. The water's dirty.
Everyone can only.
The roads are bad.
No one can get a 5-star Yelp review.
No, you can't get a 5-star Yelp review. There's not even a 5-star restaurant. The only restaurants in Blemished Record Town are 3 different McDonald's, and they all got the same menu. It's terrible. All right, we're getting into picks and bans, though. Let's go ahead and see exactly how these two teams want to go about doing this one. Over on the side of Team Liquid Academy, looks like first bans are going to be Alistair and Xin Zhao, taking those off the table.
Yeah, and Optic, no surprise, banning out Viper's Riven. Got his hands on it yesterday and had a pretty good performance. It was a very interesting game yesterday where the two comps had a lot of, like, whoever engages first is probably going to win that fight. And Team Liquid was able to find a lot more of the engages for themselves.
Third ban of the day is Morgana for Team Liquid Academy, wanting to keep that one out of the picture and make sure that nobody's getting those CC immune shields. We've seen a couple bans towards this already so far today. Not really surprised to see them continue.
Yeah, with the presence of so many melee fighters, though a lot of them are getting banned out by Optic, Morgana combos together super well with those. If you're going to go in and engage and try and do a ton of damage as a melee champion, it'd be really good if they couldn't stop you. And that's why you see a lot of the Morgana bans coming in, especially when you factor it into how well it works with some of the gold funneling strategies.
Also, if you're trying to go in as a melee champion, it helps if you don't get hit by a bubble that then makes it so you lose 3/4 of your health to a star. So Zoe going to be banned out by Optic Gaming there. They want to keep that one out of this game too. Team Liquid Academy starting off saying, all right, Nocturne's going to be our first pick. That's a strong jungler right now. They get Xayah and Rakan in their second rotation, while Shin and Lucian are the first picks for Optic.
Yep, and TLA kind of continuing to work with what worked for them yesterday. Joey and Shoryu have mostly been playing standard bot lanes. Even when they did play Marksman on the 8-11 patch, they were often going for that AP Marksman build. And now that Crit's back, you're seeing him play a lot of these other things. Xayah, Rakan, going to be very good for them, as well as the Nocturne pick that they played last night, also doing very well. So TLA, once again, sticking with comfort.
Now, Aatrox being locked in on the side of Optic Academy suggests to me a support Shin.
That would make sense.
Because usually we only see him top or support. Aatrox we only see top, so we can use our deductive powers of investigation to say, I think Shen is going to go in a support role.
Pretty good deduction there.
Yeah, and I'm just a lowly little play-by-play. I'm not supposed to know how to analyze stuff. That's what you're for.
I don't think it means you can't.
I'm going to take your job. I'm going to sit on that side of the desk and say snarky stuff.
Well, I'm going to leave. You'll be by yourself. There'll be no one on that side of the desk then.
No, you have to take my spot.
No, I don't feel like it.
All right, fine. We're going to find somebody else.
It's not a role swap. You benched me. I'm gone.
One of the camera guys is going to be the new Mark.
No, they'll be the new you.
Oh, yeah, I guess that's true. I'm the new Mark. Okay, anyway, back on what we were doing. It's top lane and jungle banned so far. It's Renekton banned out by Optic Academy. It's Camille banned away by TLA.
Yeah, with their top laner already locked in, there's a lot more focus coming in with these top lane bans. Gonna want to see if they ban out the Ornn, which was a champion Viper was playing a lot of the time when he wasn't getting his carries, and that long-range initiation threat was allowing the rest of TLA's very heavy engage comps to follow up super easily. So we'll have to see if they do that. Not choosing to, banning out the Galio instead. Got to imagine that's going to be an Ornn heading up to the top side, though. That's probably not very fun to play against. Though, hey, we did see Hanser get a solo kill in Ornn versus Aatrox. Or get solo killed.
I like the Galio ban when your opponents have already picked up the Nocturne, because if Nocturne's a ballistic missile, Galio's an artillery strike that comes down on top of it. That is one hell of a delivery.
He's like the homing beacon.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Nocturne's just the tracer bullet that goes in, and they're like, oh, okay, that's where we send the big gun.
Yeah, exactly.
And the Galio falls in, but that's not going to happen here today, with the final ban of the day being that Yasuo, like you said. That's taken out of the picture. Rek'Sai picked up for Optic Academy as the response over there from their opponents. You are going to see the Jax picked up, and I'm not going to lie, Mark. What is champion number 4? The splash art's not...
TF?
Is that TF?
Yeah, it's Twisted Fate. You're talking about Jax TF?
Yeah.
Yeah,
For some reason, I don't know why that doesn't look like TF. I think it's... Is it... No, is that not backwards? I don't know. My eyes are messed up. I need to go get glasses. I'm going to schedule a thing with the glasses doctor after this, obviously, because I was not picking up on TF, but TF Nocturne. Okay, I see it now. For some reason, now that it's switched, when it was in 4th slot, I could not tell for the life of me who that was. Now I see his hat. TF Nocturne, this is some scary setup potential for games.
Yeah, they got Jax on the top side. They're going to be trying to snowball him a lot. It's a very similar strategy to what they ran last night, where they had a Riven up there instead. And they also ran the Nocturne TF to double TP onto somebody and kill them while no one else can TP to join the fight because they're blocked out. Shen is going to have a hard time clicking whoever they're trying to kill. So he's not actually a very effective counter against this dive comp that's going to be coming in for Team Liquid. On the flip side, Optic Academy, pretty standard. The Rek'Sai is the biggest mix-up, but I forget if it was LPL or LCK I was watching. But yeah, Rek'Sai has started working her way back into the meta.
Also important to note that because that Shen is going to be played in the support role, like we accurately predicted, he will not have his ultimate, or at least should not have his ultimate, at the same time TF and Nocturne do. So if those two can hit their ulti point and immediately find a way to capitalize and use it, you can get there before Stand United ever comes online.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mismatch in those timings like you're talking about. The interesting thing about Rek'Sai is she's always been a level 3 power spike jungler because you take your Q and your W for clearing.
This is the greatest display of honor I have seen in League of Legends in so long. This is perfect. This is what I play League of Legends for. Whenever I find a game, Mark, where I can walk up to my opponent and spam emotes on top of him and he'll do the same thing to me, I know that I've found a truly honorable player. I'm so happy to see that. Even after years and years of this game, some traditions stand tall.
Not very many honorable players left in competitive play.
No.
Not many guys would do that.
No, there's not. And that's why I'm so happy to see this here, especially between 2 undefeated teams, where maybe bonking that guy could be the difference between winning and losing the game in some crazy butterfly effect. No bonks here. Not today. Not on this rip.
You know who's the most dishonorable player then?
Who?
Based off that definition would probably be Darshan. In scrims, playing Mundo, he will chase you down and Q spam you to death if he can. He doesn't care it's a scrim. He doesn't care about anything. Every single time he picked Mundo, run at you Q spam.
That is not honorable. The Jax and the Aatrox already showed us the true path, but now these two do have to get into some real League of Legends here in the top side. Remember that Jax, naturally a very strong pick against auto-attacking champions like Aatrox due to the nature of the counter-strikes, stopping so much of their damage, so I want to see how well he's able to deal with that here in this top side on the side of the Aatrox.
It's interesting because while Aatrox, once he starts scaling a little bit more, is heavily reliant on his auto attacks. Early in the laning phase, he does function a little bit more like a spellcaster AD champion because he uses E a lot. Sometimes you even put a lot of points in there before going elsewhere. You can split E and Q relatively evenly, things like that, as we see taunt misses. Some aggression down the bot lane.
That one's going to be sidestepped a little bit there, but it's not going to stop Lucian from following up on that one a little bit, looking to make things happen. Optic Academy trying to utilize the power of this bottom lane, even up against something that's so well proven like the Xayah recall.
Yep, so that's going to be a Good matchup early, I assume, for the Shen and the Lucian. Going to be a lot easier to fight. And like we're saying, you can kind of see the spellcasting nature of Aatrox providing some difficulties for the Jax early on. And it's the kind of thing where I fully expect the Aatrox to have a tough time in all-ins versus the Jax post-6, especially when he can dodge out on the ultimate bonus attack speed and all that stuff. But, you know, if the Aatrox doesn't play the all-in game and focuses more on trading with E and Q and then using his W to lifesteal back up, there might be a different way to approach this laning phase, and Jax could have a hard time too. I
mean, Jax is one of those champions too that early on just doesn't feel strong. I mean,
oh yeah.
The ability you max, Empower, I don't know how many people, if you probably don't know this if you don't play Jax, Empower just feels awful for the first couple levels. It enchants your auto with 30 damage and has like an 8-second cooldown. It's terrible.
It's basically an auto attack reset.
Yeah, it's actually terrible, but you need to max it first because of the low cooldown it gets when it's a higher level. But Jax is going to be on the back foot here for a little bit.
I miss the old AP Q-Max build.
Are you talking about like the Jax back in the day when his passive was that AP and AD gave him health? So you just built full damage and he had 4,000 health?
I love those days, man.
And his stun was instant, but you had to dodge first with pure RNG.
Oh, those are the really glory days.
Those are the real.
Tryndamere versus Jax, and Jax has like 6 Phantom Dancers because both had dodge percent on them.
6 Phantom Dancers and a Ninja Tab, and Tryndamere can't hit him.
Yeah. Glory days.
For those of y'all who didn't play back then, you missed out on some real interesting times in League of Legends history.
The design has gotten better since then.
Yeah, it's got a little bit less RNG heavy. Let's see how well these guys can manage to tackle the challenges of this game, though. As you can see, the Rek'Sai patiently waiting in the top side, but considering Viper's so far underneath the turret, Fnatic knows there's no way for him to do anything. He has to go back.
Yeah, and to go back to my Rek'Sai point about why it's a little surprising to see her in the meta right now, a lot of focus is on level 2 power spikes. Camille Zen, most notably for that. You saw what they are capable of doing in the previous games. Rek'Sai needs 3 because you're pretty much not going to take E ever. You're going to have Q and W in level 1 and 2, and then you're not really going to have an ability to skirmish anyone. Really needs all 3 abilities to function as a champion well, as well as the fact that she, even after losing her Farm Alarm ultimate, still is mostly known for being an efficiency. I didn't come up with that. I'm not going to take credit. I don't know who came up with that one.
I don't know why I've never heard that before, or I don't remember hearing that. I'm sure that I have, but that's a great name.
Yeah, so she lost that for like the gap closing execute thing. And even with that, you set up a really nice tunnel network. Sometimes you go Tiamat early on and you focus on power clearing your jungle. But with camp respawn timers, as long as they all are right now, like Rek'Sai ends up, if you go with that Tiamat build, super just bored. You have this,
boy, I wish my camps were here.
Yeah, you have this awesome tunnel network. You've got damage, you got AoE, and then you're like, where do I go? And you have ganks. You know, you have some really interesting paths because the tunnels can get over some of the longer walls that other gap closers can't, which still is probably why you see her in the meta a little bit, but it's definitely not the ideal Rek'Sai meta.
Eclipse and Gate going to be shoved up underneath their turret here by the Xayah and Rakan duo. They're falling a little bit behind in farm, but that's because they got so many creeps here still left to farm underneath the turret, so it shouldn't be too difficult to shore up those number differences.
Ooh.
Oh.
If I had to guess what just happened there, the Guardian proc stopped the damage from coming in as we see some aggression.
That's correct. Nice stun there, followed up. Insanity still walking away. Needs one more hit to get it. The Sphere won't find the mark. Fnatic wants to tank up this turret, but they will not get their kill. Optic barely missing out on that one.
Looked like Fnatic flashed a little early and then unburrowed before getting the full knock-up effect and got like the little bump up. If even any knock-up.
There was something not fully there in his execution.
Yeah, I think Insanity got stunned and then just popped up a little bit too soon and missed the extra CC. Either way, whatever happened, Insanity, nice footwork, able to get out of there. And with the flash down on Rek'Sai, still in a decent spot because the repeat gank's not quite as easy.
Nocturne coming in for a gank though, seeing maybe if he can find anything, but he will not. Paranoia being down, that's a very long cooldown early on. Paranoia's cooldown is pretty excruciating.
Yeah.
Not getting something for it is actually really good for Optic.
They did get the flash off the Syndra to help Insanity's lane out a little bit since he was down his flash. So that's not too bad. He has the Merc Tread, so he probably would have been fine in that matchup anyways. Merc Tread's Rush versus Syndra, very common to get you out of the stun faster, as well as avoid getting blown up 100-0. And the side lanes are a little hard to influence. I mean, they do have really nice combo potential down the bot lane for a dive. So it's a little surprising to see them use both their kind of global dive abilities in the mid lane. But if it's going to alleviate some of this pressure on Insanity, as well as the fact that the 5-minute cooldown on a flash is much longer, it's not the end of the world.
Also sets him up to be able to take that Cloud Drake. So that's first neutral objective of the game, going the way of TLA. Cloud Drake means more movement speed, more rotational power, which in a composition with two of these ultis like Nocturne and TF can help a lot.
Definitely the case. As well as helping Jax run away when split pushing and everyone else tries to collapse on him.
Yep. Got to be able to get out of there. Leap Strike combined with extra move speed will make him a very slippery target. Palafox with his blue buff is going to be spamming these waves, shoving things forward. Insanity, no blue buff on him yet, so he'll have to stick with the blue cards for now to make sure that he keeps that mana pool high enough to deal with this.
I gotta say, Insanity has definitely impressed me with his play thus far. He plays very team-focused champions, all things considered. The Aurelion Sol in 2 games on TF, focusing more on macro play and team objectives than trying to solo carry his lane. And in solo queue, known as Insanity XXX and
Yeah.
the MLG.
It sounds like a super MLG old school like 360 no-scope name.
Yeah, and then you find he's like this kind of little quiet kid, like very team-focused player. You're like, what? What?
Like,
How'd you
hold
end up
on
with that
here.
name?
Hold on.
Where's your
something in this
Zed?
math
Where's your
doesn't check
Yasuo?
out? Yeah. Where's my montage page?
Yeah. It was very surprising when I bumped into him the first time around the office. He was getting his pictures done. I was like, oh, you're Insanity, huh? And then he comes out and starts playing these champions. Just not at all what I had in mind when I heard he was picked up by Team Liquid Academy. I thought he was going to combo together with Viper, and they're going to have the most solo queue
heroes. Riven meets Yasuo meets crazy montage. OMG, how has Riot not nerfed this? 12 exclamation points.
Not the case.
Not today. Not today, Mark. They will be getting a little damage down onto Gate here in the bottom lane. No good Spirit Refuge to make sure he doesn't take any more than he has to. Shoryu and Joey, both with ultimates available to go. Xayah and Rakan, very, very effective as the duo here. Eclipse wanted to jump in. Going to be caught out by the Blade Caller. Not quite into the stun, though. Shoryu still walking himself away. Does not have to pop the ultimate here yet, but man, is he low on health.
Nice play there by TLA bot lane, knowing exactly what they need to invest to get out of that situation. Enemy team burns and Ignite, you walk away, don't use anything really, keep your ultimates and everything, and you're still good to go. So that was really nice to see, and they just continue to build their lead in the bot lane. Really hard for Optics matchup to contest the Xayah Rakan. Just level 1, there's just no way for Shen to really walk up and not get punished by the W start on a Xayah. So very tough, and here we see a little bit of shenanigans. I think that was a fake recall bait. Nope, not the case.
All right, sure.
I saw a Nocturne hovering there.
Yeah, I was
Xayah TPing back. I was like, oh, he's going to recall Envision and then W the Shen and they're going to kill him. And then they didn't.
Yeah, that was a little bit strange. I'm not quite sure exactly what was going on there.
It was so next level that I'm not even sure what they were trying to do.
It was so next level. It was the level beyond what we thought it was, and we're still lagging behind.
Yeah, definitely.
Insanity wanting to get away from this Syndra here. Does manage to get stunned up. There's your flash and your knock up, and more damage, and the first blood goes over to Palafox. They couldn't get it the first time, but second time's the charm.
Yeah, really nice timing there on that punish. You see Insanity's flash about 5-10 seconds away for coming up and making sure to find that kill before it came back available. And despite having the Merc Treads, the extra CC coming in from the Aatrox, able to find that kill. Very nice tracking of the enemy's summoner cooldown.
Remember that a knock-up, too, is one of the very few forms of CC that is not affected by Tenacity. Knock-ups and Suppression are the only ones that I know of, so makes it that much more ineffective to have the Merc Treads against something like that. Bottom side Eclipse wanting to go in onto Shoryu here. If Gate can find a taunt, it's going to be pretty deadly, but instead just dashes forward, and Shoryu gets out. Still half HP.
Yeah, Eclipse's ult was a little off cooldown there. If he had it, he might have been able to force the flash. We'll take another look at this one. Just a really nice play. The Palafox ult might seem a little silly, but he's just kicking it off right there to get some orbs down on the ground to set up the stun. He knew he did not need to do optimal DPS combo as the Syndra because he just needs to get the setup for his Aatrox. Very smart play out of the scouting grounds. I guess most successful case. Very impressive.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, topside play.
Topside, Aatrox is in some trouble. They know that he went middle. They want to get revenge for their friend, and they will have it. There's that Nocturne TF combo we were talking about. You think you're in a 1v1, all of a sudden they come crawling out of the walls to get you.
And the map's starting to break open a little bit. All these globals start coming in. And that was really nice timing as well, because without the ultimate available for Aatrox, it's actually pretty hard for him to get his Bloodwell passive up. And so even though it was still available, he didn't have enough spells to actually get that kind of revive off, which would have been disastrous if he's reviving under the turret. But because he can't get that, the kill works. They're able to take the first turret of the game.
Yeah, they barely beat their opponents out on that first turret, too. If Aatrox gets the passive off there and you have to waste an extra 5 to 10 seconds waiting for him to revive and then killing him again, they may have lost the first turret bonus gold. So very important extra there from TLA to add on to what was already a good victory.
Interesting timing there. Surprised he didn't try and cue the spot where Insanity was showing up to interrupt the auto attack from coming in, but who knows? Either way, not much that would have kept him alive there. Was probably going to go down no matter what without being able to get enough for that Bloodwell passive to come in.
1,000 gold lead for TLA. Even in kills, even in turrets. 1 Drake to their name. And you can see a lot of that gold lead there in the jungle. 90 to 77, the name of the farm when you compare Nocturne to the Rek'Sai. Top side, even gold between those two. Mid lane, even gold. Bottom side, a slight lead for the Xayah over the Lucian as well. I don't really know where these teams are particularly going to try to force the next big play. We do have an Ocean Drake coming up, but 14 minutes into the game, laning phase is not going to be going strong for too much longer with some turrets already taken down, so that Ocean Drake loses its incredible appeal. Insanity flashing away to keep himself alive, and they really do not like Team Liquid's mid laner on the side of Op.
Well, it's kind of the classic strategy of when you're going up against a really annoying global champion, you attack the global.
Attack him at his source.
Yeah, if you go elsewhere on the map, the TF shows up to that fight and brings the numbers back in their favor, so go kill the guy who would normally be the one
Go kill the
in.
backup before he can back anybody else up.
Exactly. So they're kind of going back to that strategy, and it's also really nice if you're able to take his turret when you do it, because TF, if he loses his turret early on, has a harder time getting into the position to teleport to the side waves, and you can get deeper vision on him and see those moves coming earlier. So it's a good play to not only kill him and stop him from TPing around, but if you're able to take his turret, limiting or making it at least more difficult for him to pursue those side lanes.
One thing I also want to point out that I only just now took notice of is the keystone on the Nocturne. Hard has lethal tempo this game, which is one of the things that makes Nocturne incredibly deadly as long as he procs that fear. Pretty much as soon as the fear procs, that's when you get the lethal tempo bonus. You just shred the guy to pieces, but it doesn't give you that instant missile damage that Electrocute does, where as soon as you hit the guy, he just gets hit with that much extra burst. So I want to keep an eye on that as the game goes along to see if anybody survives with 100 HP against him from his initial burst, and Electrocute would have killed them. I don't think either is correct or incorrect, but it's a style choice, and Hard has gone with the more damage potential and a slight delay style.
Yeah, Nocturne is one of those champions who has a ton of DPS, all things considered. He has a crazy attack damage steroid on his Q when he's on the trail, as well as having the attack speed steroid on his W, the spell shield. And so if you ever get your lethal tempo off while chasing someone who's feared down
with the trail on them,
you have monster steroids for your attack speed and attack damage. You can actually 1v1 a ton of people in the game. The only problem is you're squishy, and you can also get blown up and never really get to see lethal tempo's benefits.
Speaking of getting blown up, Fnatic goes in, able to find the flash into the knockup. Hard wants to use the ulti to get himself away from this one. Trail's going to keep him alive for an extra moment, but Palafox gets that orb right where it needs to go, and Hard is out of there. Thanks for the leash, buddy. Optic Academy will take that Rift Arrow.
You're going to take that Rift Arrow. Will cost them their bot lane turret for that play. Hard playing that one. A little risky, without very much deep vision as he starts off the Rift Herald. Gonna have a snowball effect as Optic transition from that kill on Rift Herald. Top side.
Bottom side, Joey decides to go ahead and pull the trigger. They want to go for Eclipse here. Insanity making his way into the fight as well, but reinforcements have arrived. Insanity grabbing the first kill onto Eclipse as Joey goes into stasis mode, defending against Stopla's onslaught. Palafox wants to come in from the side here as well. Insanity barely going to be staying alive for now. He does fall to gate. Palafox wanting to go in into the 1 versus 2, does manage to take one down immediately, and Team Liquid Academy will now lose their top laner. A double kill for Palafox.
Bit of a disastrous dive there, as not only do they lose more people in that play, that Rift Herald's working down the top side as
lethal tempo.
Yeah, there you go.
That's the damage potential you're talking about. As soon as your opponent's stuck around you for that extra 1.5 seconds, oh, you're hurting.
Yeah, definitely painful, and a crazy, crazy back and forth, all starting with Hard's death near that Rift Herald. TLA trying to use those globals to punish Eclipse, who is alone under the turret, but there's enough globals left for the enemy team. Shen is able to TP in. The TP also comes through from Dokla, and they're joining in this fight as Palafox roams down to the bot side. Dokla with that revive passive that finally is getting procced here, keeps people alive. Insanity just trying to run through the turret, gets taunted by Shen, which drops the turret aggro back onto him, so he's going to drop. Palafox gets the kill and just walks away. Ends up being that 3-for-2 like you were saying.
Viper did manage to get the kill on the Dokla, and then up here, Hard's like, hey buddy, what's up?
Yeah, and it's a bit of a tempting fight to take for the Rek'Sai with your ultimate available, knowing that Hard doesn't have his. You think maybe it can work out in your favor, but just that 1v1 potential not there.
Nocturne in the mid lane, immediately blowing up Eclipse. More damage pouring through. Fnatic's out of there as well, and one thing I wanted to comment on, in that top lane fight, Fnatic actually timed the Rek'Sai ultimate perfectly to stop Hard's Spear from proccing. You notice the word unstoppable came up right as he entered into the animation. So even with that mechanical outplay, he lost the one-person fight.
Yeah.
That's how strong lethal tempo can be.
Definitely something to look out for. And Fnatic having a little bit of a rough game here. 5 kills, only been involved with one of them as the Rek'Sai. Missed that flash knock-up on another potential kill. Has been struggling to get involved quite with the rest of his team. Looking for more for him this game as that Rek'Sai pick.
Let's take another look at how this pick happened here in the mid lane. It's very fast.
It's very, very fast. A lot of people to jump on you and kill you, and not many people to stop them from doing that. Shen ult not even available, I'm pretty sure.
Tough times.
As well as the fact that the curtains were pulled on top of the AD carry. You can't quite see him to click him.
3-1-1 for Hard's Nocturne, out-farming his opponent by 20 CS here as well. Definitely putting in work on this pick so far. About 1,200 gold up when you compare him to his counterpart. Making sure he facilitates his team getting further and further towards that late game. We know how strong Xayah and Jax can both be if given time to scale, and Nocturne's here to make sure they do just that. And at the same time, look at who he's got to kill in the late game. Your two main targets are going to be Lucian and they're going to be Syndra. Now Lucian, I mean, he's got some mobility. We've already talked about that earlier in the day, just how he can utilize Cloud Drakes or whatever, and why the champion likes to be able to dash around, and that might be a little tricky to kill. But Syndra? Sitting there, hanging out, no mobility, no defensive abilities? Nah, he's not going to have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, you have the cleanse flash, so if Rakan's the one starting that fight, you need to be a little careful that you don't go in for the charm W knock-up thing and you just get cleanse flash ulted and die.
Right.
But if you're playing these fights smart and taking that into account, yeah, the Syndra's going to be a very juicy target for all these different engage tools that they have.
Nocturne ultimate, back off cooldown, Twisted Fate ultimate, same story. See if these guys can make yet another play here. You can see pings coming out from the side of Optic Academy onto their tier 1 turret in the mid lane saying, hey, they continue to push up on this. We've got to answer it. Don't let them get another free pick. Chicken Camp going to be the target. Twisted Fate throws off the wild cards, trying to steal that one away. Fnatic will secure it for himself. Black Cleaver completed on the Rek'Sai. First big item that's not the jungle item. Nocturne you can see with the Duskblade and another Dirk in inventory. Full lethality here.
Got that Duskblade to, or excuse me, the Black Cleaver to shred through all that armor that's building on the side of TLA.
So much armor, man. If I look at this entire team, I can tell you I see 2 whole armor items and only one of them is a shoe.
The other one is a
Glacial Shroud, which is mostly a mana crystal.
It will become an armor item shortly.
Yeah, there will be armor there.
There will be a Zeke's Convergence. But other than that, we'll have to see how many armor items get built this game. Still a good item for Rek'Sai. The move speed on the auto attacks, the cooldown reduction. It's still a very, very good item.
Yeah, it's a good item. No me Marino. It seems funny for the time being because of the lack of armor being built on the side of TLA. Aatrox with that Titanic Hydra completed first. Needs to get that Gensu's to really be that huge duelist threat that we talked about. But going back to your point earlier, Mark, you're now up against a Jax that's got Trinity Force, and by the time you finish your Gensu's, he's going to be done with his Titanic Hydra most likely as well. So now Aatrox is like, okay, I'm this strong guy who's really good at like fighting in the split push and the all-in, but I don't want to fight Jax.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't win that. We see the gank in the mid lane.
Oh, remember what we said about Syndra and being a target as Rek'Sai goes in just to get himself killed. Fnatic does not want to be there, but he is anyway as the tier 1 turret goes with them. A big win for TLA.
Most importantly, they didn't just kill the mid laner, they killed Fnatic with the smites. This is going to mean a free Baron for them to start off. Optic does have some members to try and contest it, but this feels like a suicide mission.
Well, here they go. Let's see if they can do it. They've got to try. Baron down to half HP. Taunt lands onto Joey, who dashes away to the safety of his teammates. Extra range, but he dashes to Zaya. Dokla here into the middle of the fight, seeing if he can make anything happen. They got it! The Aatrox steals the Baron. Dokla comes up massive. Gate grabs the kill onto Joey, able to find a taunt here as well. Shoryu staying alive. There's still 3 up on the side of TLA. It's a 2-for-3 trade. The Baron is given away, though. Absolutely insane steal from Optic Academy to stop this game from getting out of hand.
We'll have to take another look at that, I'm sure, to see exactly what went down with the smite here, because this should be pretty much guaranteed. Dokla did do a good job distracting by flashing in and ulting and looking like a big scary demon thing.
Sure.
But you have 2,100 damage. It gets spiked.
Oh,
that's
29 away.
29 away, but there's no real threat of it getting bursted. There's no more giant spike of damage that's going to come in. You were relatively healthy. I think he was at like 500 HP. Actually, he had a smite for the HP. So maybe he was closer to dying and felt like he had to smite then to not die to the Aatrox. I'd have to watch that one more time to know exactly if that was a big mistake by Hard or Dokla had some good target prioritization to put Hard in a situation where he thought he might die.
Either way, that saved the game for Optic.
Absolutely the case. Doesn't look like Syndra got the Baron buff. I'm not sure. Rek'Sai doesn't have it either. So unlucky that they couldn't have Smite stolen it a couple seconds later. But like you said, saves the game because there's no longer this global pressure from the Baron buff buffing up the minions and TLA diving you with those advantages.
There's not that. This game would have been 3,000 gold more apart, considering it's a 1,500 gain for the side that got it. So considering you're already staring down the barrel of a 4K deficit, 7K at this point in the game with your opponents having Baron buff, Optic would have just been on the clock. They would have been stuck in their base praying for a mistake from TLA. Now they've still got the ability to maybe keep this game in their own hands.
Yeah, they've got the miracle, but what can they do with it? Because it still feels like, while that's great, what can you really work with? Because the Jax, like you said, feels like a very advantageous matchup versus that Aatrox pick. They'll have all their global engage tools up, and it feels like whoever's in a side lane or wherever the Syndra is under a turret, they just keep diving her.
Sometimes the first thing you need after a miracle, Mark, is another miracle. Yeah, we can turn the water into wine, but we need a couple more gallons just to make sure that this all works out. Dokla will work on this Ocean Drake himself, grabbing some extra regeneration here for the side of Optic Academy. That's the first Elemental Drake this team has secured. And they're moving around as a unit. I like to see this. You cannot allow anybody to be off on their own, on their lonesome versus the Nocturne Twisted Fate combination.
And then kind of running down at Shoryu, but not enough of a threat to really look to pull the trigger there. And the Jax, after seeing everyone,
he's like, all right,
that 1v1.
Nobody's near me in this Aatrox. I can try to have some fun here with this one. Insanity pushing up into the top side. There's a single card into that turret and realizes it's probably time to get out. Gate hangs around in between these two lanes, making sure if anybody needs some help, he's there to defend. Viper continues to push up on the bottom side now as his team pressures everywhere else. This is exactly what you want from split pushing. Make sure everybody's in position at the same time. Joey makes his way down here. For those of you who are wondering why you use a Counter-Strike, you can actually get 2 different Trinity Force procs off with one use of Counter-Strike, once on the activation, once on a slightly early cancellation. Makes it so you take the turret that much faster. One reason why Jax is so good at split pushing once he has that Trinity Force. And with 5 turrets now down on the side of their opponents, Team Liquid Academy has that bigger and bigger gold lead. 6K now, getting harder and harder to deal with for Optic.
Yeah, and this is why having that Baron buff would have been absolutely disastrous.
Here we go, Nocturne showing up in the bottom side. Dokla wants to get the passive, does so. Hard barely walks away from the turret. Resurrection comes through. Charm also going to be coming out. Dokla taken down. Viper now going even further in, recognizing the fact there's no way out but in, as he manages to get a second kill. It's 3 dead on the side of Optic Academy as TLA has to back away. They have won the fight, but their health bars are potentially in danger. Palafox, no ulti, but still has the entire rest of the Syndra kit.
Still going to be pretty hard for them to defend this. Joey can go back in with his W and threaten to kill the Syndra. She has flash available, but too hard to defend this turret.
Hard has also healed up by a significant margin, and it looks like inhibitor number 1 will drop 27 minutes into this game as TLA finds a fight.
They have a crazy 1-3-1 setup here. It was pressuring all over the map, and then with the global mobility it provides, they can end up in basically any lane. They dive the Aatrox for the kill, and this is why You know, they said, we don't need the training weights of Baron. We'll do the same exact strategy without the auto-pushing minion waves.
This is just a weakness. Let us show you what we're really capable of.
Yeah, we don't want to win the easy way. We're trying to learn and get ready for playoffs.
We're going
again.
for achievements.
Here you see there's that global pressure. I mean, TF all the way up in the top lane starts rotating down as the 3-man collapse came in on the bot side. They're able to kill him. Eclipse thinks he's going to try and turn this, and Viper doesn't know what retreat means. He keeps going in, just flashes him by himself and wins that 1v1. Does let Palafox trade it out, but you see Shen not really being able to get involved. The darkness turning the lights off so he can't actually ult the Aatrox, so he has to run down. They're all slow.
And now the Twisted Fate and Nocturne just get stronger and stronger and stronger. It's double lethality items. It's Lichbane plus Roa plus Zhonya's Hourglass. TF can do the immaculate bait where you just gate in and then you immediately Zhonya's yourself.
It's the Messiah.
The Messiah.
We need to remember the legend.
That's why I called it immaculate, because of play on words.
Oh, okay.
Messiah, come on. Come on, Mark. Come on.
I got you.
All right.
That's cute.
Well, we'll see how it works. I really hope we get to see it. I know it's super rare, and most of the time it's actually useless, and you just do it as a meme. But I hope it's a meme we get to see.
I feel like it was, you know, some of those mind games lost a lot of their effectiveness once people started seeing it more often. The first time someone ported into 5 men, you're like, oh my god, we thought we'd blow him up, and we did. Here we go.
All right, Fnatic can't quite find what he's looking for. Instead, only finds his 5th death of the game. This Rek'Sai is not doing what they need it to do. Eclipse from the back line, thinking he's safe. Still going to be safe. They do take down hard, but now it's a double kill over for Insanity. Still looking to set up even more. Joey goes into the back line. Palafox is gone. Dokla tries to fight, but 1 versus 5. That's not a fight you want to be taking. As he goes down, it's an ace for TLA, and this is likely the game right here. I don't think anyone will stand in their way. It's 18 seconds before Fnatic comes back up. The Nexus turrets are dropping way too fast, and we said it at the start of the game. Only one of these 2 undefeated teams will retain that title at the end of the day, and when the dust settles, it's TLA at 4-0.
You liked it yesterday, and it was twice as nice today. The Nocturne TF making plays all over the map, diving people. You take defensive globals, doesn't matter. Nocturne cancels those out. Only offensive globals allowed.
This team played their comp exactly as you wanted to see the comp played, and even at the start of the game, we were kind of talking about how the Rek'Sai seemed unusual. It seemed like the pick that didn't fit in too well. You mentioned how it had a little bit of play in some other regions, but it did not work for Optic this game.
No, and I think it's a little unfair to just blame the Rek'Sai pick. Fnatic definitely could have played it better. If they snowballed that mid lane even harder, because they did have some nice advantages there. If they were able to continue punishing Insanity and they take that mid lane turret and he's 0-2 TF, maybe he can't get around the map quite as easily and break open the side lanes, which were kind of winning naturally on their own.
Right, but since he was able to recover, since TLA did manage to play to their comp's win conditions so well, they proved why they deserve to be 4-0. And we even mentioned at the start of this game for Optic Academy, they've played against some of the weaker teams so far. This was going to be their big test, and unfortunately for them, that test proved too tough this time around.
And maybe it's the case where they should have done more to try and mix up the strategy that TLA was going for, because like we said, we saw it yesterday. It looked really good. They fell behind really badly yesterday off some horrible level 1 stuff. And once the game started breaking open more and turrets drop, that TF Nocturne comp actually gets stronger as the game goes on and the map becomes more open because their ranges increase. There's less turrets defending you. The map's more open. And it's not like you're getting more with the Shen. He's always global. He always provides a shield, but that guy's just going to die before you can ever cast it. And so both games, it just kind of snowballed on, and they eventually found kills, and it feels like you got to start breaking this little attack pattern up for TLA.
Sometimes the win condition can be interrupting your opponent's win condition successfully, and we're talking so much about Nocturne, we're talking so much about Twisted Fate, so now why don't we hear from the source? To hear more about that victory, I'd like to welcome Insanity to the broadcast via Skype. Insanity, awesome game you guys just played. Welcome.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, that was great, actually, even though I pretty much just inted that game.
I mean, they threw a lot of ganks at you.
Yeah, they really didn't want you to have a good laning phase at all. They were definitely going for Camp TF as the strategy. So, you guys' strategy, though, when you guys came into this game with Nocturne and TF, like, was this what you were going for from the outset of Champ Select? Or was this just something like, as soon as you saw the first wave of bans go through, you're like, oh, wait, we need to get that?
Well, leading up to this, we just wanted to pick Nocturne and TF for like a pick comp so we can split well as well. And for this game, we just literally, all I had to do was not die, and it would have been perfect. But I ended up inting a few kills over, but it still went well.
So I got to ask you about this. The name Insanity, and in the solo queue, it's Insanity XXX, and it's this kind of like crazy MLG name looking for the highlight reels. And then you're playing Aurelion Sol and TF, and you're this nice guy, and it's just like, what's going on?
You seem like such a team player when your name would suggest 360 no scopes. What we're asking is,
where's the disconnect?
Where'd you get the name? How did you come up with Insanity XXX?
I just like the word insanity. Like, I like the atmosphere around that word, and it wasn't available when I first started playing this game, so I just threw in some filler at the end of it.
That makes sense, though. You got to throw that in there. It's like I had the 2 on Captain Flowers on Twitter.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta
throw some junk.
I got an extra E in my name.
So everybody's got things like that. But so far, you guys are the only team still sitting in Academy that, well, wait, not the only team. You're one of the only 2 teams, I'm sorry, that has a perfect record in Academy Summer Split 2018. What do you think sets you apart from all these other teams? Why is TLA so good?
I just think we really mesh well together, and we have a really strong voice on the team, Joey, of course, and it just goes so well together with how we play.
So what has it been like kind of integrating with all those guys? Because you came in to replace Mickey, who is everyone calls coin flip Mickey, this absolutely crazy player, and you have a very different play style. So what has that transition been like for you?
It's been pretty easy, honestly. I think my play style actually before I came here was a lot of coin flip as well, but I'm sort of adjusting to be this more consistent player that actually revolves around the team and does what I can to sort of help everyone get what they need to be, or get what they need to do done. Just try to be a team player, you know?
Yep.
Soul, TF, etc.
All right, so moving forward, working with this team, obviously you guys have had a lot of success so far in the first couple of weeks, but as we all know, a split is not just 2 weeks. So what is the plan for TLA moving forward? Like, what are your personal goals to work on and succeed at to make sure that TLA finishes the rest of this split the same way that the start has gone?
I think we just need to keep improving, stay focused, don't get complacent. Honestly, we've been playing pretty horribly, and I don't think we'll be able to win every game from here on out if we continue to play like this. So looking forward, I think we want to try to go 18-0, but it's not likely at this point. We need to play a lot better.
All right, one last question. What do you think, for you personally then, is the biggest point of improvement you're going to be focusing on to make sure that you can shore up some of those weaknesses and get that 18-0?
I'm going to try to not die to jungle ganks as much.
All right.
Or not get ganked as much as well. Focus on that.
I don't know, man. That sometimes seems like it's up to your opponents, and these guys today definitely had your number. But, hey, at the end of the day, despite getting camped like that, you were still able to have an awesome performance with your jungler hard, having that duo, that synergy between those 2 big ultis. It made everything work. It was a lot of fun to watch. And once again, I'd like to thank you for coming on, congratulate you for having such an awesome game today, and best of luck moving forward.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. With week 2 of Academy complete, let's see how the teams are stacked up. CLG Academy and TLA exit week 2 tied for first, still undefeated after 4 games. Meanwhile, Optic Academy has joined Cloud9, tied for third. TSM Academy now joins Golden Guardians in 7th with their first win picked up today, while Clutch and Echo Fox share a winless first 2 weeks at the bottom of the standings. Now, Academy has wrapped this week, which means the LCS is on the horizon. TSM will have their quarterfinals revenge match in Game 2 against Clutch Gaming, and be sure to check on the NALCS Lounge for Game 4, where Apollo and Solo will join Freak to cover 100 Thieves versus FlyQuest. Should be a lot of fun with those games tomorrow.
Absolutely, and like you said, that rematch where Clutch Gaming ended TSM's record of always making the finals and finally getting that kind of revenge. And if Clutch Gaming can win, I can't wait to see the reactions that people will have. They are just completely TSM's kryptonite.
If Clutch Gaming can build their reputation as the TSM Slayers, that would actually be an incredible thing to see. They already did what no team had done before and stopped them short of the playoffs. And if they can do it again in regular season, just be like, hey, remember us? We remember you.
Yeah, they 2-0'd them in the regular season last year as well. It's like, how does TSM just get destroyed by these guys? It's crazy.
Well, if that's still too long to wait for more League of Legends action, coming right up is a rebroadcast of this morning's EULCS matches ahead of their live Day 2 broadcast. Check out all their new pregame ready check, which starts at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time, 4:30 p.m. Central European time. Now, for myself, Mark, and the entire Academy crew, thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next week. get away from this Cinder here. Does manage to get stunned up. There's your flash and your knock-up, and more damage, and the first blood goes over to Palafox. Palafox wants to come into the side here as well. Insanity barely going to be staying alive for now. He does fall to gate. Palafox wanting to go into the 1 versus 2. Does manage to take one down immediately. Dokla here into the middle of the fight, seeing if he can make anything happen. He's got it! The Aatrox steals the Baron. Dokla comes up massive. Resurrection comes through. Charm also going to be coming out. Dokla taken down. Viper now going even further in, recognizing the fact there's no way out but in. Lift for the back line, thinking he's safe. Still going to be safe. They do take down hard, but now it's a double kill over for Insanity. Still looking to set up even more. Joey goes into the back line. Palafox is gone.